That's where like the traditional folks in the industry are just like, no, thank you, because you're just trying to scam me. You have to convince, the non-believers at the end of the day that it makes sense for them to kind of come on over and utilize this technology. If that messaging isn't clear from the get-go, if it's something that's too esoteric to understand, which in Web3 can be.
How do you feel like crafting compelling story works from the valuation side? Is that something which motivates you?
Yeah, I would agree with that kind of concept, like the crafting of the story and the narrative. Just kind of the former banker in me would suggest like that is almost the most important thing, right? Like when you put together, and coming from, especially on your side, Charlie, with the marketing kind of concept and positioning, like that focus needs to be crystal clear. I think for folks when they're investing in something, or you're looking to sell your product out to the folks, they need to understand exactly what it is that they're signing up for at the end of the day. And so if that messaging isn't clear from the get-go, if it's something that's too esoteric to understand, which in Web3 can be, right? There's so much noise, right? That, like, well, I'm building this and it's going to do this and it's decentralized. And I throw out a bunch of buzzwords. It's like, you just like your head just knocks back and you're like, what that's where like the traditional folks in the industry are just like, no, thank you, because you're just trying to scam me.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to make sure that I think it's just more important for Web3 companies to make sure that they do their best to clearly position and market the exact need for what they're trying to, solve, right? The question that they're trying to solve, right? I think that is so important, right? So as we're trying to build we're at a very nascent space, right? Right now. And we're trying to build that into something that is more, I think, better understood by the traditional world, right? As much as we want to be, counter to that, right? Because, the traditional stuff doesn't make any sense, right? But we still need certain, components of that. And, if you're going to develop market share, you have to convince, the non-believers at the end of the day that it makes sense for them to kind of come on over and utilize this technology. And I think, you'll see that like in the decentralized finance we talked about. I think gaming will come around. I think, you're seeing the social network part of it come into play, which seems like a very logical thing. Like, why should LinkedIn and Facebook own all my information, right? Why can't I do it? Mm-hmm. The creator space, all of that stuff where, there is a use case for me to develop a whole kind of business around myself, right? If I can, sign up for the right companies who understand that are building those ecosystems, I'm far more compelled to be interested in them than if it's just a bunch of buzzwords. So,
but this is interesting actually, because if we're looking at, looking over the decks and the compelling narratives that we've seen coming by, I often fail to see, they're good compelling narratives for Web3 investors or bigger Web2 VCs that have a, at least a crypto division that understand it. But very often it is the buzzwords and everything that I was like, why there's not the focus on the mass adoption Web2 piece, which I think is very important, right? Like I always make that example is like, my mom, everybody's mom, they need to use it. These are the people that you wanted to use, right? Let's say decentralized.
Add words in AI to your pitch deck and